Show me the money.
All right, show me the money. Time to do the baseball over-under edition of the Show Me the Money segment out here on the podcast. Join me today, the annual guest in this spot, Phil Fraietta is here. Phil, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I gotta say, it feels good to be doing this in late March as opposed to July. We had to do it last year.
Yeah, and it's nice to have the 162 game numbers to go off. Trying to do the math in my head last year was difficult.
It was quite difficult, and I was saying at the top of the show, it's amazing how far we've come in 1 year, because, I mean, in late March 2020, we were doing opening day at home. We had no baseball in sight, no anything in sight. Now we have the full schedule. We have fans in every ballpark to some degree. It's pretty cool to see how far we've come.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. It's a miracle of modern science that we were able to move this far this quickly. And, I'm hopeful that come July 4, we can really get back to something that looks like 2019 looked instead of 2020.
Yeah, so now we have that in mind. Now we have the parameters of the seasons out here. I mean, we have 162. We have fans starting. I'm sure we'll have more as the year goes on. We have the extra inning rule back. We have the 7-inning doubleheaders back. No DH. What are your feelings on this year coming up?
Well, when it comes to the fans, I'm very happy about that. Although I read, and I know this isn't the purpose of this segment, but is it true that the Texas Rangers are going to have a full ballpark on opening day, and then they're going to institute capacity restrictions after that?
I have not heard that. What I heard, they're doing 100% from the jump.
All right, that would make more sense. I heard that they were doing 100% for opening day and then switching back to reduced capacity for the next few games.
I will take a look on that while you talk about your other stuff.
Which is weird, but on the other stuff, yeah, I'm surprised that we didn't get the DH, but we've talked about that on this podcast before. The DH has become a negotiating bargaining chip on both sides, and the union is holding out on that chip to get more what they want as far as the more money, and that's where we are there. I'm surprised we didn't get that. I'm happy that we kept the 7-inning doubleheaders. I've come around on them. I like them. I think they're better. And I'm just happy that we're going to have 162 games of baseball, and like you said, we're going to have fans in the stands in some capacity in every stadium in Major League Baseball, I believe, except I guess the Blue Jays are starting out in Buffalo again. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, no. They're starting in Dunedin down in Florida. They're starting their spring training facility.
Okay, and then they're going to go off to Buffalo at some point, I assume, when the weather is more cooperative.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan with that is, because also AAA's got a season this year, so Buffalo is still there.
Right. So I don't know what the Blue Jays are doing, but everybody else is going to get some normal-ish baseball with people in the stands, and I'd love to go. I'm planning on going to at least a few Yankee games this year.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you brought up too, because I was going to ask you about that, because as people know, like, more people getting the vaccines, like, I've gotten both shots. You are in the process of getting your second shot, so that's going to be coming up soon. You'll probably have it by the time the episode ends up dropping here, but this is one of those things where at what point do you feel comfortable going, as opposed to, like, versus when would you really want to go? It's like, because I know you still got to wear your mask, still got to be, like, not a full house, a lot, like, the usual concessions won't be open. So, like, what difference does it make to you to be able to physically go to the ballpark?
So, for me personally, I just want my shots, which, as you mentioned, I'm fortunate enough that I'm almost done with them. If I have to wear a mask, okay, I have to wear a mask. I can live with it. It's worth going for me. I like going. I like watching baseball live. And I don't really care if it's a full house or not. In some respects, it's better. Less line to get the hot dogs and the popcorn and everything else. So I'd like to go as soon as possible. But my typical rule has been I don't like to go to baseball games in April. if I can avoid it. Sometimes the temptation gets there, but it's so cold. The weather's not cooperative, and when you're going to early season baseball games, it's not the same as when the season's up in full swing when it comes to May. And all right, I know Garrett Cole's going to go 7 innings. It's not they're going to pull him after 80 pitches no matter what, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I'm one who's like, I have the shots. I'm just sort of more like, I want to wait a little bit more. The weather you said is kind of bad in this area at the time of the year. Also, I'm one where I kind of want it to be a little more normal when I go. So I'm sort of looking at like, I'm fine. I got the Gary, Keith, and Ron experience on TV, and I will look to go in the summer. That's where I'm starting my target to go back to the ballpark is.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, I'll see if I can go in May, June, somewhere around that time. I think that's the best weather also in New York to go to a baseball game.
Yeah.
The problem with those April games is half of them get rained out.
Yeah, that's true. I also was looking up the Texas Rangers situation here, and I found an article in the New York Post that they're going to have the full house on opening day. And you were right. It says that after opening day, the Rangers will introduce socially distanced seating sections. The team's requiring fans to wear a mask for all games. So I don't know exactly what that means.
How stupid is that?
That's just the Texas Rangers trying to be the Texas Rangers. And last year, they were the first team to make their employees go back to the ballpark.
So on April 1st, it's going to be okay to have a full house, but not on April 2nd? That's pretty stupid. Yeah, I thought I had read that. I think that's pretty stupid.
That is pretty dumb. The Texas Rangers is literally they're just trying to show off.
Yeah, look, I'm not going, so I guess whatever, but man, that's pretty stupid.
It's pretty stupid, and something that's not pretty stupid. We're going to do our baseball over-under bets. This is a running tradition here on the podcast. This is the third year in a row we've done it. I won narrowly the first year. Second year, I won more run, but that's sort of an asterisk because the 60-game thing was weird, and we had trying to figure out what does 37.5 wins actually means out of a 60-game slate and try to figure it out. This year, back traditional 162. So we are going to use the numbers from FanDuel Sportsbook, our over-under numbers. We're going 3 overs and 3 unders. Phil, since you are coming in trying to win this year, I'm going to give you the choice. Would you like the first pick or the second and third picks?
I'll take second and third.
All right, so I will be up first. I'm going to start off my board here. I've got a lot of numbers I like here. I'm going to start off here with an under here. I'm going to start off with the Colorado Rockies under 63.5 wins because this is a team that they dumped Nolan Arenado for peanuts and they paid the Cardinals money to do it. This is a team that is going to end up moving Trevor Story to trade deadline because they're nowhere near the contention. They're going to get pummeled in the West by the Rockies and the Dodgers. Plus, the Giants are not bad. Arizona will be more competitive. This team is easily losing 100 games, and I have to get 99 losses for me to lose this bet. So I will take the Rockies under 63.5, my first pick.
I like it. I had it on my board. I agree with you that you got the Dodgers, you got the Padres. My only concern with doing that, and I've done it before successfully with the Orioles, 100 losses is a lot of losses. If the Rockies have a good 2-week stretch, you might not get there. But I think it's a safe play. I like it.
All right, so you're up now. You have 2 picks. Where are you going with your first one?
First pick, I'm going to do actually both my picks in the American League Central. So I'm going to go over 90.5 for the Chicago White Sox. I think the White Sox are a really good team. I think they showed flashes last year, and now they've got this young core ready to go over a full 162. They have pretty good pitching. They're just good all around. The number's 90.5. I think I can get a 93, 94, 95 win White Sox team. So let me go over with the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, I love that one. That was on my short list of picks to make, and this is one I think they're going to win that division this year. So take over 90.5 is a no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that number. On the other end of it, I'm going to go under on the Cleveland Indians. Their number is 81.5, and I have to believe that that's just a Terry Francona number because what do the Indians have anymore? They have Bieber and they have Jose Ramirez. They have nothing. They traded Lindor to the Mets. They sent Carrasco to the Mets. They have really nothing behind those two guys. They lost Brad Hand. They just dumped him as salary. I just don't see how the Indians are going to go over 81.5 this year. I think they're a bad team in a division that I think has some decent teams, including the White Sox and the Twins. So I'm going under on the Indians.
Yeah, for me, that number is too close to the margin, especially because I think they will split their games with the Royals. The Tigers, they should still beat up on. The Tigers are pretty bad. I think the American League as a whole being down, I think I could see them picking up the wins in the right spots. I think they have to play the NL Central again, so that's what I was going to stay away from. It's too close to comfort for me.
It's a good number. I think Terry Francona's inflating it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it might be. I'll stick in the American League Central here. I'll just add another one to that division. I'm going to take the Royals over 73.5. This is a team I think that's actually trying to get better. They made some shrewd moves in the offseason. They have some young players coming up. They got Brady Singer. They have a full year in the rotation. They have that kid Bobby Witt Jr., the shortstop, who should be up in the middle of the year. They have some nice piece on offense. It's a low bar to clear. Win 77 games to get the over on the Royals. I'm going to take that.
All right. I could see it for the same reasons that I just picked the under on the Indians. I can see those two splitting their games with each other. So, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, plus I like the lower number to clear. That's an easier bar for me to get over.
Yeah, it's clear. I think that's a good one.
Okay. You're up now. Where are you going with your next pick?
I'm actually going to your team. I'm going over 91 on the Mets. I think the Mets are probably the third best team in baseball this year, behind the Yankees and the Dodgers. I think the Mets have a complete ball club. I think they're loaded on offense. They have good starting pitching. The Carrasco injury is that hurts, but okay, it's a hamstring. That's the good thing. It's not a shoulder. It's not an elbow. So you're going to get him back. Syndergaard apparently is coming around for the All-Star break. You've got Jake. The bullpen is much improved. You may actually get something out of Edwin Diaz here. So I like over on the Mets, over 91 for the Mets.
You know I love the Mets over every year. I had that on my list. I was going to be my next pick if you would not do it. So good job for you in stealing that one from me.
Yeah, I'm going with your team. I just think I really do. I think the Dodgers are by far and away the best team in baseball. I think the Yankees are probably the second best, and then there's nobody who I'd say is definitively better than the Mets after those two.
Yeah, that's true. I think my next pick here, I'm going to try and go to my overs here. I don't have a ton left that I love. I'm going to get another one on the board here. I'm going to take the Cardinals over 86, because this is a number I think I can clear pretty easily. This is, in my opinion, the best team in the worst division in baseball. They got Nolan Arenado now. They're going him to go with Paul Goldschmidt. Their pitching should be healthier this year. And 86 seems low when they're in a division where the Cubs got worse, the Pirates are tanking, the Reds got worse, and the Brewers stay about the same. So I think on division alone and playing the American League Central, I can get over 86. I'll take the Cardinals over 86.
Yeah, who do you like in that division? I think the Cardinals are probably going to win it. There's nobody in that division who jumps out at me. Is there a team that jumps out at you?
I think the Cardinals. I think Nolan Arenado has enough to do it.
Yeah, it's not a very good division. I think the Cardinals could win that division with 88, 89 wins, so I like that pick.
All right, so we have 3 on the board each. So far, you have done 2 overs and 1 under. Where are you going with your next pick?
I'm going to go to an under, and I'm going under 79.5 on the Red Sox. I don't understand where the Red Sox number comes from other than the fact that they're the Boston Red Sox. They're clearly worse than the Yankees, the Rays, and the Blue Jays. I think significantly worse than those 3 teams. They're going to get beat up by those 3 teams. And what do the Red Sox have? Who on their team even gets you a little excited? Xander Bogaerts? I don't see anything on that team to get anybody excited. I don't think they're any good at all. So I'm going under with the Red Sox, under the 79.5.
That team, to me, right now, they basically did nothing on the pitching front that really gets you excited. So, you mean Garrett Richards really getting you fired up right now?
No, the Red Sox, they have no pitching.
Yeah. This team, I think, at max is 75 wins, at max.
Yeah, I don't get the number. I really think the number is just the brand, the Boston Red Sox brand. So I'm going under with the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I had that on my board, too. Next one I'm going to go to here is I'm going to go to my unders here. I'm going to go for the same reason. I think the brand's inflating the total a little bit here. Give me the Phillies under 81.5 because this team literally is basically the exact same as the one that gets underachieved the last 2 years. They brought in a couple more relievers, but I just don't see this mix working very well. And they're in a tough division. The Mets and the Braves are better than them. I think Washington's better than them too. Miami is not a pushover as the last place team. I don't see where the Phillies are winning all these games. I'm going to go under on the Phillies.
I like it. The only thing the Phillies really have that can get you at least a little excited is I think Girardi's a good manager, but I don't know how much a manager matters in modern baseball. They have some good pieces on offense. They have some okay pieces in the pitching staff, but nothing. You're right, nothing that gets you so excited. I like that pick.
I think that's a pick that I feel very good about because I feel like this team is basically in fourth place and staying in fourth place. They've done nothing to get me excited to say, wow, they actually are going to push the Mets and push the Braves.
Yeah, I like it. I agree.
All right, you have 2 picks left. You have 1 over and 1 under left. Where are you going with your next one?
I'm going to go over Houston Astros 87.5. I know the Astros are down. I know they've lost a lot of pieces, but they're still by far and away the best team in their division, I think. I think they're better than Oakland. I think they're significantly better than the Angels. And the Rangers are just they're a disaster. So I like over Astros. I don't think they're going to be much over. They're clearly not as good as they used to be. I don't think you're going to see a 97, 98 win Astros team, but I think they could win 90 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's one where the division is tricky for me. That's why I want to stay away from it because Oakland, they don't look good. It seems like they'll find a way to win about 85 games themselves. And the Angels, one of these years will get it right with Mike Trout. It's one of these where I'm like, I don't know with the Astros. I want to see what they look like without some of these pieces they lost.
Well, what did the Angels do for you? I mean, who did they bring in to get you excited?
The thing that encouraged me is if Ohtani is fully healthy, he's a boost on both the offense and the pitching staff. They made some shrewd moves on the pitching front to get themselves some depth options there and see Europe where they're going to have a lot. And the division's not good. They can win games that way.
The division's not good. I agree with you on that. Ohtani, I like Ohtani as a player, but he needs to show me that he can actually play 162 games doing the pitching and the hitting. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm skeptical, as I think anybody should be, because nobody's done that in 100 years.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm up now. I'm going to have my last pick here. I'm going to go to my overs. I don't have as many of those because we agree on a lot of them. I'm taking Toronto over 86 wins in the American League East because this is a team I think is on the rise. I think George Springer coming in is going to be a big help to this team. I feel like another year of experience for all the kids is going to help out a lot. Plus, I think they're the second best team in the American League East. I think Tampa Bay is taking a step back to kind of reload a bit. So I think the wins are going to be there for Toronto. I think they're going to win about 90 getting a wild card. So I think I'm going to take Toronto over 86.
So, all right. So that was my question. So you're taking Toronto and saying that they are now leaping the Rays. They're the second best team in this division. And if anybody's going to challenge the Yankees, it's them.
I believe so. I think Tampa, this thing is, I know that they have pitching wizards, but they got rid of both Snell and Charlie Morton last year. Glasnow has trouble staying healthy. I want to see them get these guys all healthy in one shot, the ones they brought in, see if they can make it work. Until they do, I like the Blue Jays better.
I'd like that. And look, the American League East is, I know a lot of people say, chalk it up, Yankees are going to win it. And I'm a Yankee fan, so I hope that's right. But there's some cause for concern here with the Yankees. Their pitching staff has a lot of question marks on it. Their bullpen is becoming desecrated by injury again. So yeah, I could see Toronto sniffing for the division, and they have a lot of good young pieces, like you said.
They do, and I think Springer's leadership will be a big help to that team. You're up now. We each have an under left, so where are you going with your final pick as on the underside?
Most of what I was looking at has been taken, so I'm going to go with a little bit of an outside-the-box one here. I'm going under on the Padres. Not because I don't think they're good, I just think the number's high. 94.5 is a high number especially when you consider that they're in a division with a team that's probably going to win 105 to 110 games in the Dodgers. So I know the rest of the division's not great. I know that they're not playing on the American League side. They're not playing a great division. I get it, but 94.5. I mean, has to be a 95 win or plus team for me to lose that. That's a lot of wins. So let me go under with the Padres. I think they're good. I think they'll make the playoffs, but 95 is a big number.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy there because like I like that team. I could see your point where you say, you know what, like that's still a lot of wins. They could win 93, make the playoffs, and still and that would not be a disappointing year for them. But they may not clear that number. It's a lot because 95 is a lot.
But the other problem they're going to run into, I think, if you look at it, is they're not going to compete with the Dodgers. So you're probably going to get to a point where they say, all right, the division's out of reach. But as far as teams that are going to qualify for a wild card, they're probably going to have that 4 seed locked down pretty easily. They could cruise a little bit at the end.
Yeah, I think honestly the wild cards thing, it's like I said before, I think it's I think the NL playoff field has been basically, assuming everyone stays healthy, set on paper for a while. I think it's the 2 teams in the East, the Mets and the Braves, the 2 teams in the West, and the Cardinals. I think that's the NL playoff field.
Right. So then it becomes down to a question of, do the Padres need to really play to the end to get that home field advantage against the Braves or the Mets? I'm not sure they're going to need to.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's going to be an interesting point right there. And then my last under here, I'm going to go with the old standby here. I'm going to take the Baltimore Orioles under 63.5 wins because this is another team where they played a little better last year, but again, short sample size. This is one I don't know if the pieces are going to be ready yet. They didn't do much to augment the Major League roster in the offseason. I still think we're a year away from Baltimore. I think we're getting another 103-ish loss year, which is still an improvement where they're tracking over the last couple of years. So give me Baltimore under 63.5 to wrap this up.
I like that pick. I think that the Orioles are going to go back to their batting practice role for the Yankees. And now for the Blue Jays, I think that those 2 lineups are going to absolutely pound their pitching. And I could see both of those teams beating them 15 to plus times each.
Plus, they're playing the National League East, too, which means you get all those good teams playing against them, too. So that's another bunch of losses going to be added to that Oriole ledger.
Right, you get beat up by the Mets, you get beat up by the Braves, and I even think a team like the Phillies would just pound on the Orioles because of that hitters that they have. The Orioles can't pitch. It's been their problem for almost a decade now. They've served the purpose of padding a lot of guys on the Yankees stats. They probably made a lot of guys in the Yankees a few extra $1 million, and that's really what they've done.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense to me because I think they're still at least 2 years away. I was torn between this and the Pirates. The Pirate number is just so low at 58.5. I'm like, that's one that I'm pushing it if I take the 58.5.
Yeah, 58.5. That's hard. I know there was a year where I can't remember what it was now, but I took the Orioles and I think they were lower than that, and I won. But that's a hard one. I like the Orioles here. I think that's a good under.
Plus, the Pirates are in weaker division and playing a weaker division in the American League. So that's one I could see them getting to 59, and you don't win that.
Right. And they're not going to get beat up by the Yankees.
They are not. So to reset the board here, Phil's picks, he's going with the White Sox over 90.5 wins. The Cleveland Indians under 81.5. The Mets over 91. The Red Sox under 79.5, the Astros over 87.5, and the San Diego Padres under 94.5. I have gone with the Rockies under 63.5, the Royals over 73.5, Cardinals over 86, Phillies under 81.5, Toronto over 86, Baltimore under 63.5. Those are the picks, and I will say neither of us touched the Yankees, and I have to double check it out. I believe last I saw it was in high 90s, maybe 95 or 97.
I had the Yankees. I have them at 96.5. I think I don't have it in front of me right now, but I think I have them at 96.5.
That sounds right. What if you had to make a pick on that number, what would you get?
I would take the over, but that's just being an optimist. There's the Yankees are a really, really hard team to project, as they've been the past couple of years for two reasons. One, you have no idea who's actually going to play for the Yankees in a given day because of the just the amount of injury-prone players that they have. How many games do you get out of Judge? How many games do you get out of Stanton? How many games do you get out of Aaron Hicks? How many games do you get out of Sanchez? Is Sanchez even worth anything anymore? Et cetera, et cetera. So you got those problems. And then on top of it now, you have a problem of the Yankees starting pitching is a tremendous question mark. Are you going to get anything out of Kluber? Are you going to get anything out of Talon? Are you going to get anything out of Herman, Devi Garcia? Those guys, you have no idea, really. And when it comes to the bullpen, the Yankee bullpen is not what it's been over the past few years. Last year was a clear weakness, and it ended up costing them in that series against the Rays. This year, they went out, they brought in Justin Wilson and Darren O'Day to try and stabilize it, and Justin Wilson's going to get an MRI in his shoulder right now.
Yeah.
So you might lose him. You already lost Britton for at least a few months.
Yeah, it's not ideal for the Yankees. I think, honestly, the way with them is it's like, I think that's the number. I think it's right there around 95, 96 wins, because I think there's also might be a point where, like, they may be coasting a little bit, especially if Toronto does not take that leap. Look,
I don't like to draw conclusions on last season because last season was a very weird season. But what you saw from the Yankees last year was very concerning. That's a team who won 15 games in a row, and then they lost 15 games in a row. They were super hot and cold. And you started to see it a little bit in 2019 as well, and then more so in 2020, that some of these guys who came out of nowhere are starting to get a little bit exposed. The Yankees need their key guys on the field. They're not going to be able to continue to win by playing people who Mike Talkman and guys like that. That's not what they need. They need Aaron Hicks out there. They need Judge out there. They need Stanton out there. And if they can get those guys to play, they're going to win 100 games easily. But it's at this point, I don't know, can you go into a season assuming you're getting 100 and even 40 games out of those guys?
Probably not.
No, I don't think you can. If you do, great. But at this point, I don't think you can. So there's a lot of question marks there. To me, the biggest question mark with the Yankees is actually one that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, and it's Gleyber Torres. Is Gleyber Torres going to be a superstar, or is he just going to be a very good player? And I think that this is his season now to make that known. Is he going to elevate himself to a top player in the American League, or is he just going to be an all-star type player? We'll find out this year, because if the Yankees can get Gleyber to take that next step, that is huge for them. It provides insurance against Judge and Stanton injuries, and it would be very huge, I think. There's no other word for it. Huge. I think that's important, and I think Aaron Hicks is important too. Aaron Hicks, his value gets underplayed every year because he doesn't put up the massive numbers that those other guys do, but he's a very good defensive center fielder. He gets on base, and he's a switch hitter. And the Yankees have no lefties in that lineup, so they need his bat.
Yes, they do. And last thing before we go, I'm asking everybody who's been on the podcast today for a World Series pick. So what is your World Series prediction for this year?
I mean, I don't know how you could say anything other than the Dodgers and the Yankees. I know I said that last year, and I maybe even said it the year before, but if you're being objective, I think that's got to be your pick. The playoffs are a crapshoot. Who knows? But I'd go Dodgers and the Yankees.
Yeah, I went a little off the board. I said it earlier in the podcast, but I think just considering, this is going to be a little bit of a fluky year, I think, obviously you're saying Dodgers, Yankees for a while now. I just don't think it's going to happen again, because I feel like we've been beating on that door. So like in the early 90s, everybody's like doing like the Bills and the 49ers Super Bowl. We never saw it happen. I think it's the white whale generation. We're not going to see Dodgers, Yankees in the World Series for at least like 3 years.
Well, look, we haven't seen the Yankees in the World Series since 2009, so that's not crazy for you to say that. The Yankees haven't they've been good, but they haven't taken that next step to get into the World Series. We'll see if they do. I'm more confident about the Dodgers than I am the Yankees with that pick. The Dodgers, to me, are just absolutely loaded. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually challenge for the most wins ever in a season.
No, I think my pick was I did not take either of those teams. I actually went a little homerish here, but I got a weird feeling this year. I took Mets White Sox in the World Series.
I could definitely see that. The Mets are they were there a few years ago. They're a dangerous team if you get them in a short series. To me, though, the Dodgers are just so good. I really could see the Dodgers winning 120 games.
Yeah, cause
I know it sounds crazy, but I could.
I could too. The thing that's crazy about the Dodgers is yeah, you get them in there, but the thing I like with the Mets is you get them in a short series. You got Jacob deGrom, you have Marcus Stroman, Carlos Carrasco, Noah Syndergaard. That's a very rough four for anybody to match up with.
It is, but the Dodgers are going to throw back Walker Buehler and Clayton Kershaw and Trevor Bauer and all their other guys. So
that's a heavyweight matchup.
Yeah, and when it comes to if it gets to a battle of the bullpens, I like the Dodgers a little bit better. I just think the Dodgers are a little bit better than the Mets in all areas. But would it surprise me if the Mets beat them? No. But I really will. I wouldn't bet on it on even odds, but I wonder what the odds are for a bet that the Dodgers beat the win record, because I might consider it if the odds are there.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that, Phil. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see. I guess we'll talk sometime at the end of the season and see who won this year.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, take care.